Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of Getting Your Class to Behave with me, Sue Cowley. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about the next of the key principles of behaviour management, those crucial basics, and this time it's to be persistent. I refuse to give up on those learners. So I say in the book that the strategies, techniques that I suggest and that I'm talking about in this video series are not a magic panacea. They are not something that you put in place and instantly all your children, all the young people behave perfectly. And anyway, if you think for a moment about how that would be, it would definitely feel a bit weird if all your learners suddenly turned into what you might call Stepford children. And if they came in the room and they sat down and they went, "Good morning, miss, I am ready to learn. I will now be silent and listen to your every word." I mean, at first it might be fantastic, but after a while you'd start to think, hang on a sec, this isn't real life, is it? And as I say in the book, this is about dealing with human nature. And human nature is majestic, it's complex. People are really complicated beings, and it's all about responding to that knowledge. So I say, don't give up on the strategies because they don't work immediately. It is going to take repetition over and over again to ensure that the young people understand that this is what you need, this is where the line is, here's the boundary. If you go over it, I'm going to put you back behind the boundary. And it's that repetition, that reinforcement, that revisiting that over time will get these things in place. And of course, you can also be doing absolutely great with the boundaries, and then all of a sudden something skews it. Perhaps a new child joins the class, or perhaps something goes a bit chaotic outside of school, which influences your class inside of school. So the other thing I talk about in the book is remember this. All the time you are working on the behaviour management strategies that I'm sharing in these videos, you are becoming a more effective teacher. You are learning to have lots of potential options in your backpack of strategies that you can whip out and you can utilise to manage when things are going wrong. And as I say in the book, every time that something does go wrong, or a class doesn't go well, or a lesson feels like it's completely failed, see it as a learning opportunity. Reflect on it. Think to yourself, okay, what did I do wrong? What might I do differently next time round? And just to give you an example from real life again, even though I've been teaching for over 30 years, I will still have days when I know that I didn't quite handle something right. And I came back from teaching the other week thinking, I really didn't handle that situation correctly. I really should have done something differently. But luckily enough, you do get an opportunity the next day to go back in and try a different approach. And often when you have these moments where you don't quite get it right, it's coming from something within yourself, that you're stressed, that you're tired, that you don't really have the headspace to think clearly about these things. So give yourself a break, prioritise your well-being, and that will support you in being persistent. And I talk in the book about how in some schools, and I've taught in these schools where behaviour is a constant battle, there are days where you feel like throwing in the towel. And actually, if you look at the statistics of teachers leaving the profession, which is somewhere around 50% within the first 5 years from having started training, you will see that for a lot of people, sticking with it proves too difficult. But if you are still here, you are still in the classroom, still in your settings, working with your children, then you are persisting and you will learn to be more effective. And I say again in the book, sometimes you come across the class from hell, a class which for some reason contains a really high number of learners who are really struggling. And sometimes it feels like the children are just throwing it back in your face. But never lose sight of the fact that some of these children and young people have really challenging situations outside of school, and accept that while you can do your best for everybody, maybe you can't change the world for them all. But what you can do is make a small difference in a small way by keeping going. I'm Sue Cowley. Thank you for listening to Getting Your Class to Behave. I hope to see you back here again next time.